Hello, everybody. This is April Levitt here with Module 12 from EDL 850 on tort liability. The definition of tort is a civil wrongdoing that a person makes or to cause harm to another person, independent of contract, and a person can sue over it. There are two types of tort. One is an intentional tort that someone is intentionally trying to cause harm on another. And that would be, examples of this would be assault, battery, slander, false arrest, malicious prosecution, basically spreading rumors and ruining somebody's reputation, their invasion of privacy. If there is a case that is intentional tort, they are required to have proof of intent or willfulness. An unintentional tort would be just simple negligence. Whether it was intentional or not intentional, negligence you can still be brought into a court of law under negligence, and it does not require an intent or willfulness. So the first court case that I'm going to bring up is Michael versus Cedar Rapids Community School District. And this is a case where a mother of a special education student sued the school for off-campus sexual assault by another student. Some details about this case. A student, along with another student in a special education who happened to be 18 years of age or older, they skipped school together. The teacher of these students recorded their absence using the software that's provided by the school. And this software notifies the parent later on in the evening that the students were absent, had an unexcused absence, and they notify the parents as well as the administrator of the absence. The teacher, however, did not inquire further regarding the whereabouts of the student. And so because of that, the jury did find the school district negligent and inadequately supervising the student. So what reactive measures would my school take? They would probably set a clear protocol for students that are absent. What steps would they take to prevent this from happening again would be similar. They would set a protocol to contact the office, another teacher, campus security, and then as well as other students so that the teacher would not be made liable for this, and likely particularly those with special needs, they might need to take further precautions. The next court case would be Hoyam versus Manhattan Beach City School District. This is a case where the mother sued for compensation regarding an injury due to a claimed negligence. This is where a 10-year-old boy attended summer school and left early. At a public intersection, he was hit by a motorcycle and seriously injured. The mother saw him a few hours later at the hospital and suffered emotional injuries, if you will, based on the physical injuries of her son. The school district in this case was not held liable. This is due to the fact that schools cannot force a student to stay at school, and then they are not liable for anything that happens off campus. So any reactive measurements or things that would take place right away would be, again, set clear protocol for students that leave early. And that might be, again, the same as the previous one. It would be to contact the main office, contact another teachers, campus security, ask other students to make sure that the student is not skipping for any other reason, and obviously contact the parent to let them know that their child has left school early or left the summer school early, so that the parent knows where the student is at all times as well. Barrett versus USD 259. This was a wrongful death. I'm going to silence my phone. Wrongful death action was filed due to a 12th grade student collapsing and dying after football practice. This was some details about this. This was the first practice of the year. Temperatures were high, and so helmets were required to be worn, but pads were not. Water breaks were given every 20 minutes for approximately 5 minutes, and as well as needed by the student. And then a break was also given midday. After the practice was over, the student collapsed and then died the next day in the hospital of heat exposure. For this case, actually, a verdict has not been made yet. Reactive protocols would be to set a clear protocol for hot days, as well as if a student is feeling ill. If the student did come to the coaches stating that he didn't feel well, the coaches indicated that he should get some water, but maybe setting a good protocol for that when that were to happen, maybe sending them in to the nurse or whatnot to help the coaches know exactly what to do. Also, for the proactive steps, again, set a clear protocol, including monitoring the weather to either cancel practice or to have the practice be held inside if possible. And then, of course, educate the coaches on heat exhaustion. And the third case was Jackson versus USD 259. This is a case where a mother sued the school district for injuries inflicted due to neglect during a PE class. So some details about this was during PE, the teacher and student were using a springboard from the gymnastics class to catapult the students into the air so they could touch the rim and dunk the basketball. In this case, a student fell, fractured his arm in 2 places. The school was not held liable due to an act that grants government entities immunity for the use of playground equipment, which this was deemed like a type of playground equipment. Reactive measures for this would probably deem this activity forbidden in the future. And then steps would probably be to get with the PE teachers to discuss regular activities and to make sure that they're being thoughtful about what activities could cause some serious injuries. And then also set some protocols as to what kind of activities would be acceptable within a PE class. Nicholas versus USD 400. This is a case where a student sued the school district for injuries sustained while running in the dark after a football practice. So some details: after a long and hard practice, the players ran back, which it happened to be dark because it was an evening practice. They ran back to the locker room, and it happened to be over a grassy swell or a waterway that provided drainage for the fields that they practice on. They ran this direction every day. This wasn't a new thing that they did that particular day. This is something that the student had done quite a few times, which is, I think, kind of an important piece to understand. The student stumbled, but then caught himself and then proceeded to the locker room. After cleaning up, he felt that he had a pain in his neck, so sued the school for being negligent for having to run in the dark. The school was not found liable in this case. Reactive measures might be clear protocols for night practices, and this could also be reactive but also proactive, where ensure practice fields and areas around the school are well lit. So either having a flashlight for the students to carry with them or shine, or even putting up lights in some way to make sure that the students can see where they are going during practices and after practices. So what is the benefit of having professional ethics, a set of them for the school? Well, there's quite a few reasons why you'd want to have them. And I think that all of these pertain to all of those court cases, which is why I put this in the end. First of all, it provides a consistent guide to behavior, particularly if a course of action is not an obvious thing for teachers. It provides clarity to new employees. So you might have had discussions with previous ones, but now you've got new ones rolling in. And this set of guidelines is going to give them some clarity. It helps the school and staff to comply with any government regulations. If you have these guidelines and professional ethics, a set of them available, they're going to, it should be made clear to them that oftentimes these follow government regulations for what students need to have. And also, when you are transparent and have this set of regulations, then it builds trust within the community because there's some clarity there. It also assists in the protection for teachers and schools against lawsuits because you can show that you have this set of ethics and you can possibly prove that a teacher was not being negligent because they were following the set of professional ethics that was set by the school. This also raises awareness for the needs of the school for everybody involved. So that concludes my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks so much.